My wooden hand spinner fidget build. My steampunk build is another one that seems to be rather popular. You see these around the internet. I don't think I've seen anything that looks like these. You see some 3D printed ones, and they're very nice, but I wanted to do something I could cut out in a rather short period of time. This one is my first prototype. Okay, but you can see it doesn't go very long because there's no weight on the outside, unlike this. So I came up with this idea of marbles. Okay, relatively cheap, and the boys really like them. You can go with all sorts of color schemes, what have you. Most people have marbles around the house. If not, marbles are relatively cheap. So how did I do this? Well, I started out with just taking this fidget, which I kind of just did by hand, and I kind of charted it out. This one actually, believe it or not, was in PowerPoint. Okay, cut this out. One of the things I learned is you can't trim too far to the edge, because when I start using the drill or what have you, it would rip up the paper. So actually take a bunch of paint stirrers that you can get from a regular hardware store for practically nothing. Sometimes they even give them away. And glue them up together with wood glue. Cut this out. Double stick tape, as I found, works really well. Once again, relatively inexpensive. Lay that down. I found that cutting the holes first actually works better. And then you come in here and you cut out the outline. So what did I use for the cutting the holes? You could always use something like this, but one of the things I found was that this point really goes down deep in the wood past the hole. So I actually made a little investment, and these are relatively inexpensive, and I plan to use them for all sorts of things. This is the 7/8 drill bit. Does a nice little flat, straight hole. Okay. And that's for the bearing race, which is typically 22 millimeters. And then for the marbles, this, the 5/8 drill bit. Okay. And then just get marbles that, and they'll kind of fit in here. And so if they're a little loose, that's okay. Just like with the race, that's fine, because once you paint it up and put a clear coat on it, you'll find that those will stick right in there. You can either pressure feed them, or like in this case, I put too much paint and clear coat on, and so I actually had to ream them out, put those in, and I used a little wood glue or some simple glue and glued it in place, and it's working like a charm. Okay? So, and then once again, like I said, double-sided tape on this, and it comes right off. Sand it down, and it's ready for painting. Okay, for cutting, you can always go with a scroll saw, okay? Or I use this, and this works just as well, and cut it around. Sand it down with some paper. Started out with some 100 grit, then worked up to 150, and then finished it off with some 400. And it got it nice and smooth, ready for painting. Now, as far as the drills go, you can use a drill press if you have one, but we found that just a regular hand drill, battery operated hand drill, with these drill bits works like a charm. Pretty simple. And that's about it for the 360 build. Put it together. Between paint stirrers, a little glue, probably the bearing races are the most. These were actually harvested from an old roller blade, so they cost nothing. I actually got these as part of this other build I had. I got 8 bearings for 13 bucks on Amazon. The one thing you probably want to know about this is that they go okay. They're much quieter. Actually, I haven't done anything to this bearing yet. I actually took the red piece off of here, and I found that they go a little longer, and you can see it really quiet. And I actually cleaned this up a little bit and took some of the grease out. But these are plastic races as opposed to the old inline skates that are metal. So they actually make a lot of sound. Sometimes the boys like that. Other times they just want to go ninja quiet. So if you want to do this at school and you don't want to draw a lot of attention, go with this. And the other thing about the dowels, I used a 5/16 inch dowel, and I put it in here because my 10-year-old found that this was kept on running into his hand. So with the dowel, it just seems to work better for him. And he loves it. And you can actually make little... yeah, right. Of course, it's not going to work very well. Well, you need to make it a little bigger, I guess. This one actually works better as a top. Okay. So there you go. 360 build, wooden fidgets, wooden hand spinners. And I will do a very similar build in a flat screen, and you tell me which one you like better. Thanks for watching.